there is good growth momentum in the economy at multiple levels. So I am not too concerned about specifically what the IIP is showing at all. But as I keep mentioning to you, and I said that before, we have our macroeconomic indicators are good, Nick, and we are more than capable of retaining inflation within the band in the not too distant future, particularly since, as you can see, oil prices globally have begun to come off. Now, of course, I'm not in the business of predicting oil prices, but I'm just saying that oil prices are now coming off. And internal domestic supply side conditions remain in very good shape. If anything, we probably have the best supply side conditions we have had in a long time, and perhaps the best there is in the world. So given that, I think there are no real reason for being concerned on the macroeconomic stability front or on the GDP growth front.
Mr. Sanyal, will the gas crisis in Europe mean that the inflationary trend will continue? Because there is an SBI research report that says that the worst is yet to come globally.
Well, I'm not in the business of predicting how Russia will behave over the winter. All I can say, if there is a disruption, that disrupts everywhere around the world. Obviously, it causes stress in Europe itself, which is an export market for us. And anyway, disruptions in the world cause problems. Imports back into India also affect. So any supply side disruptions anywhere on the planet in a interlinked world has an impact, and we will deal with it as it goes. But I have no way of predicting exactly how Russia will or will not supply gas into the future. It is something that we have to keep an eye on, and build bulwarks where we can, stock up on inputs where we can, and so on. But it is something that we will retain some concern about.
My last question to you, what explains this trend that the US dollar is going up with respect to every other currency, including the Indian rupee?
Well, the US and printed a large amount of dollars through the COVID crisis, something that I had myself expressed some concern about at that time, and they are trying to unwind it. So when they unwind it, they tighten the supply of dollars, and dollar spikes up. And as you will be aware, they also have a serious inflation problem, some of the highest inflation in over a generation. So consequently, they are tightening, and the dollar is consequently strengthening against everybody, including the rupee. But let me point out here that the rupee is actually appreciating against everybody other than the dollar. We have appreciated against the yen, the euro, the British pound. And I am of the opinion that we should not be targeting a nominal level against the US dollar. If we do that, we will be unnecessarily stressing our export sector and creating a target for speculators. So I agree with the RBI's policy of allowing the rupee to find its own level while using the foreign exchange reserves to sort of rein in volatility. So it doesn't allow the rupee to move too fast in any direction, but by and large allows it to find its own level. I think they have done it successfully, and I would support them continuing to doing this.
Sanjeev Sanyal, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being a newsmaker on News Epicenter and explaining the inflation numbers for our viewers.